Well, in the previous phase, just to fill in very briefly, in the previous phase we dealt with the two koiches ha'afochim, the koich ha'chochma, the koich ha'afloa. Dealing with the union of Ilui, an aliyah be'ila acha Ilui, in the hafshota of the union. And we saw that there was an ability to be teifus a'inim al-chatchila b'eivim mufshat, and it wasn't just purely the union of the half sheet ha'soga mi levusha ha'soga mi in the union of Sholim and Nocha Zalfinyonim, and then from that to go to the Yoim union, but it was Malachatchila to be Teifus the union by Shel Hafshota. And then we saw there was the Koich HaYerida Lamata Mata to be Mavaya, to be Mechalik the union Baribu Chalokim We've shown Islapshus, Belavushi, Amakabel, Lahavia, Telemata Mata, in simple union for the sake of the Makabel. And so we saw that the Afshota was really a Mailamin from Tfisis Asoga, and we saw the Koich HaYerida was in the union of Asoga Gufa. Union to be able to be malbishet and to be more than the union of Asoga, Lamata Mata in Inyane Hasoga Hapshutim Viyesa. And we saw that the Emes Chacham has in himself both of them. That was the immediate in of Chachma. And we saw that the feet Koiche in the Afshota came Koiche Rav the Halbosh, and that's what we're going to see in this house more Barichas. That it's really dependent one on the other. The more you have the koich of hafloa, or the more the shtadlus is to reach the union of hafloa, the more it is the ability to come down the matamata to the makabel. Meaning, in simple terms, that the deeper you understand the whole union, the more you're able to make it simple for a makabel poshu. And then we saw there was an even more Dover Nifla that you can even put it in a lavush, depending on the Oimika Soga, or the what you might call the Afloas Soga. You're even able to put it into a lavush more than just for the sake of the Makabel, but you can even be malim in things like riddles and chido, and we brought a dugma from that. But Yeshlem, it's not mamish the same inyan. Of it's a dugma mi'einse or a dugma kareva to that union. We brought the two Eifanim in Chachomim, or the two Sugei Chachomim that are brought down in the Gemara, particularly at the end of Masech Reidiyos, but the union from Chorif Maksha and the union from Mosuk Masik, that he Davke reaches Maskonas Halachu Lapoyo. And we saw that the Chorif Maksha, when he goes upwards and deeper into the Inyan, into the Oimek Hadora, we saw that he's also Oile Vahiler with the Ribi Kushiyas, and that's a Inyan from Er Choiza, as we reach the conclusion at the end. That's like going backwards and upwards impatiently from a point of a Soga, but going much higher and deeper. Fudin, Dafke Fudin from Stiras Kushiyas. And then we saw that the Mosman Masik, his Indian is Dafke Oyer Yosho, he Dafke to come down, Begiloi Lamata in the form of a Dova Misyashi and a Dova which comes to a Maskona. But we saw that Dafke, because of that, he's not Boimek Kokach, since he's not Toruk in the Kushiyas, in the Stiras Adora. Therefore, his whole Indian doesn't begin the Oimek Kokach. And we saw that the Indian, the Mitis HaChochma, was that Dafke B'Yiskala L'Shneihem was a Chocham Amiti, and that's what we called a Kava Emtsoi. The Rebbe used the expression that was like the Indian of a Kava Emtsoi, a Koilu Shneihem, that these colorless works in such a way that the Muslim the Chorif U'Machshir, adapted through the Kushiyas, he's able to bring to how do you call it, a uniform Maskona, Yerida Lamata, even Havos Harimek Lamata Mata. So he uses the Ilui of the Kushiyas Stires, but he's able to bring that down, that Oimek, when he reached through the uniform of the Kushiyas, should Dafka come down into a Yerida of his colors, or even Shal Maskona, Lapuya. Again, we saw that the immediate Chorav Machshir Mitzadatzmei, he tends to remain somewhat with the unrest of the Kushiyas, even though he also reaches maybe some sort of view of the matter, but his Ike Inyone is the restlessness of not wanting to stop at that Inyan, or to be always Oila. But Eimak Yesa, therefore he's, as we use the expression, Mistabech, he never reaches a clear Maskona, Mashikin the Parla Kava Choi, which means that he's really a higher Madrega, he's really a Oimek Odyotel, he's able to bring, or that Inyan of the Kushiyas, or the Inyan with the Kushiyas reach, and bring that Gufa into Kiloi, which makes him, gives him a Maila over the Mosan Umasik Bitadatsu. So Yesh Leimad, we can suggest that it's Kedai, since these terms have been used here in certain, maybe we should just give a very brief survey of the terms. We find here the expression Oimek, and we find the expression Oirech, we find the expression Harchov or Roichav, even though we haven't mentioned that a great deal here. And we find this in from what we call Hafloa and Yerida V'chulei. So suffice it to say that B'derech Klal, the Inyan of Chochmah, being as it is, the Inyan from Koyach Ma, being Be'etzim Vinyone Bittel El Ha-Mitiyas Ha-Inyan, and Bittel El Ha-Etzem, as we say, Pnimis Abba Hu Pnimis Ati. Therefore, Chochmah has in itself the ability to be, on the one hand, Mufshat, and yet on the other hand, it has its own. Mufshat means, even from going upwards into the Mitis Asoga Bli Levushim, and yet at the same time, it has the ability to come down. So we could say that the Inyan of Yerida B'Chochmah, that's what we call Oirech. And Dafki, because Chochmah is the Inyan from Amitis Afloa, it goes upwards into the Emesa, Tuichen of the Asoga Bli Levushim. It's able to be Masik, the Inyan, or I want to say Masik, it's able to be Tifus, so Inyan, Bli Levushim. And therefore it's able to, ultimately, it's able to come down further and further, and Dafki make use of Levushim. In other words, Dafki, when you're not tolui in something and you're Mailami Mimeno, then you can make use of it and you have to be Mushtamish. So Dafki, somebody who's Lamailami Alavushim, he's able to use the Levushim. Yeah, let's say the Chadova, but even what he's not Tofus and Mugbal in the Levushim. So we can say that the Inyan Aliyah of Oirech, Oirech meaning going downwards in that's totally in the Inyan from Chochmah. Then we say that Oirech is Dafki, the ability to come Mata into Sholim V'Ka'itz B'Zeh. That's totally, as we're about to see now in detail in this chapter, it's totally in the Chush HaFleur that there is a Chochmah. The higher you go and the more less Mufshat you are, and the more you can bring it down into a tremendous, what you might call length, or tremendous path of Yerida with all sorts of Balabatishkeit over the necessary Inyonin to help the Makabo. In other words, you're able to use them freely because you've really gone beyond them and you see the immediate Adova, how it is L'mayla Mikol and Tvarim Ha'elu, but you're able to see even Hanochain and the right way how you can make use of those Inyonim to serve the Emes Kavona, which is the Pnimis Inyan. And then we see the Inyan of Oimek. The Inyan from Oimek is more connected with Das. In other words, there's something that he's margish the Dover, and Mamela he's marish the Uimek that's in the Inyan. The Das Inyoni is literally to dig into the profundity of the Inyan. Now, what do we mean by that? We see that the Das has got to do with the concept of what's called, in modern language, it's called Ikpatiut. In other words, that the Inyan bothers you, that you're concerned by the Inyan. And it, how do you say, it's nogea to you. Or even Pnimisa, something that's nogea to you, and it touches you deeply, and it's reached a level, what you might call yachas el matzir shulcha, then you tend to feel a necessity to go deeper and more profoundly, and you tend to ask questions and drive yourself in a way where you see the relationship to other inyanim, but you see it in a way at the beginning of stira and difficulty, and you yearn to get to the depths that's hidden there. And therefore the Inyan of Oimek is definitely connected with Das. Oimek is an aliyah, it's not a yerida like in the Inyan from Chochmah where you have to yerida. Therefore it's brought down in the Kisvei Arizal, the expression that Yesod Abba Orochu, that the Yesod Ashpur, the infant Koach HaMashpiyah Shebachachma, is Oroch, it's long, it can just keep going down and down. Again, this chush of kushiyas, like we saw the Choref U'Makshir, why is he all the time asking kashas? And why is he always shturiming? Because B'Emes HaInyan Nikbatlo is an Ogeh Lo Ma'od, that's his whole chayid, his whole Ogeh, Pnimis Atzmusa, is the Inyan, but he's so restless to get to it that he doesn't put kushiyas for stiras. So that means that he's going upwards, but he's going upwards in a slightly different way. He's going more into what we call the uimek, the profundity, meaning what does this Inyan really have to say in a way that it'll be able to show a whole new dimension in understanding. And Mamela relate to other inyanim in a way that it'll how do you might say that it becomes to use the expression revolutionary. In other words, it indicates new depth, new vistas in many things that we Balawachi understood, but we understood them more Vishitchiyos. However, since with the Inyan of Kushiyas, he remains a bissel not being an issue, but therefore the immediate is the person itself who unite both the aliyah that's there in the Inyan from the Kushiyas and the ability to come down. Now, once again, the ability to come down is more connected with the Inyan from Chochmah. So, I mean, there we borrow more on another koach, which is the Inyan of Chochmah. Yesh Lema that the Inyan from Chochmah and Das having themselves a Dover HaMeshutah. As the one on the Pnimius of Das, or the Pnimius of Chochmah rather, is the Inyan from Das. That's the one on. But the Alter brings in Tanit Perek Mem Beis that the Inyan of Moshe Rabbeinu Madrigosi is the Inyan from Das, and it's Mavur become a Mekamis of Moshe Rabbeinu is the Inyan from Chochmah. So we have to say that in the Inyan from Pnimius of Chochmah, there's also a yichud with the Inyan of Das. In other words, that koach ha'aflua, and that koach ha'amocha, that's koach to ask kashas and to dig into the profundity, that they unite, that they, as it were, Messiahim, they Messiah one to the other. Therefore, they're reported as a dogma one to the other, even though Yesh Lema that they're really two different koachas b'nefesh, but they have a demon and the shaykhs one to the other. Therefore, somebody who's in that Inyan, that he's uniting the two, then that's a sign that he's got a Asinus Koyach, the Etzem, we'll see as we go on, it comes from the Etzem Koyach of the Etzem HaNefesh to provide the whole Inyan from Atzog is Beklau. Well, that gives a whole new vista, a whole new depth that he can unite both. He can unite both the Aliyah and the Yerida. And that's, as it were, the Tachlis of Amitius HaChochmah to unite the two together. The Inyan from Reichav, that we'll talk about another time. I don't want to go into that now, because when you talk too much, it becomes a bit heavy. Therefore, we have to say that the Indian from Reichav, the Indian from Pina, that's the ability to go what you might call more than studying, not Lamaila Lamata, but to be Marabi. But that also touches on a Indian from Oimek. That's one, but that's another type of Oimek and another gather in Oimek somewhat. It also comes from the answer. Therefore, we'll deal with that on another occasion. But suffice it to say that those are the Inyanim of Chochmah and Das, that they have to do with these Inyanim of Aliyah and Pamela, the power of Yerida. So that was it, the Rebbe. V'hinei Beis HaKoich HaShebachach. We go back now to our original theme where we're talking about the Inyanim from Chochmah. Agam Shaheim Hafochim Zemizel, like we said throughout the whole parak in the previous parak. Hinei B'emes Hein Kluim Zebazeh. Now, we've already been meramis to this in the previous chapter, that we said Lafi Koichei Balo Akein Koichei B'Yerida. There we said that they're proportionate, that they somewhat, how do you call it, support and measure one the other. But here the Lashon is that they're not just they lend one to the other, but they're B'emes Kluim Zebazeh. It's really dependent one in the other. In other words, it's the koyach. The mishi yesh boy rak koyach ha'afloa, boy rak koyach ha'yerida, ein ze amitius ha'chochma. If somebody's got only the koyach ha'afloa, yeah, but he doesn't have the koyach ha'yerida, then that's a sign that there's something lacking in the koyach ha'chochma b'yetzem inyonah. Because the inyan from chochmas inyonah is that it's miyakid in itself, these two hafochim. When they both function, well, that's a sign that he's got the Amitis HaChochma, and then when they both function, they function in a way of dependency, in a real way, in an absolute way, one in the other. In other words, that this is like a Tosefes Biur on what was already Nirmas B'Kitzur Haloshin in the previous parak. The Kasher Choser Koyach HaYerida Hariu Choser B'Koyach HaZeh. He said when he's lacking the koyach ha'yerida, then he's lacking in that. But gam koyach ha'afloa ain't a b'shleimas. In other words, first of all, he's lacking in the etzem, and he can't get down into all the details of what a mekabel. He's only able to go a certain point, and then he tends to be vague to the mekabel. So the Rebbe said that not only he's lacking in that, but we have to say that he's lacking also in the hafloa. In other words, that if he's not able to come down, that's a sign that the afloa also is lacking. Because these two inyonim are dependent one in the other. Primarily, if you're lacking one in one, that's a sign that the other is also choser. Ukenal, like we saw above, the chorov u'makshir levad, that was what we brought in the second mashal. The chorov u'makshir levad, hari hu bilti mesuda bo ha'inyonim. V'gam li'atzmei enu yodea amitius adora. Even though we said the chorov u'makshir maybe mitzad another koyach somewhat, but it's a dogma to the klolas ha'inyan, then we saw that he doesn't really have a clear issue of the whole inyan benafshe. He tends to be somewhat uncertain about it, even if he reaches a maskana bi'atzmei. But because he's all the time, they'll be going further. Which kashi is, then maybe what we can suggest that even when he reaches a certain issue, he's not sure that that's going to become mukshe sure. And therefore he's not clear. He doesn't have a door of borum. So therefore bilti masuda binyanim. Now when the Rebbe says bilti masuda, that also tends to indicate something. In other words, he's not able for the makabel to arrange it all in a masudadik way and give it out dova al rifane. Or he starts here and he goes here. He tends to be beli manucha. That beli manucha comes from lack of Seder Nochain in the Inyan. So therefore he says, V'gam li'atzmei ena yodea amitius hadora. He said, if he's got only the Inyan, adachusha afloa, or that's the Inyan of Koref u'Makshe, then it could be that he doesn't really know the amitius hadora. what do I mean by saying he doesn't know the immediate Hadova? In other words, the immediate of any Indian is only when it's Mizgala, or only when it reaches its Kavana. In other words, in every Indian there's a Indian Kamoishahu, and then there's a Tachlis over it. So if the Eibishter gave us powers, Masuyomim Benafshenu, that's the Indian of Seichel, but the ultimate Tachlis of all those Inyanim is that those Inyanim should come out into Gilui Banefesh, and eventually they should reach a Gilui L'Teicha Elam, in other words, to the Makablim. In other words, that every Indian has a purpose and a Tachlis. Just like we have Koyach HaDibur. So Koyach HaDibur is made ultimately to change the world, and to be Mishkasha with the Oid people, and Oid Metzias and B'teich Inyan Oelam. Therefore we have to say that also all the Koyachas which Hashem gave us, that He didn't give us just that we should use them only in a form of what you might call pilpul or discussion, but He gave them in a way that they should reach Maskona. And every person was saying, for example, was saying Chelkeinu, that everybody's got a chelik in Teirah, that everybody's got a certain Inyan, but that's his Inyan to be Megala that. What is the ultimate meaning from Torah? Torah is Chayroah. In other words, our Inyan is going to come in a way that it comes into the world and has what to say and has what to express itself. Therefore, somebody remains only in the Inyan of Halua, however tachlistic and however deep that Halua may be, then that's not the ultimate purpose why he has a Koyach HaSeichel. Therefore, if he doesn't have an ability to bring it down and be Megaled, then that's a sign that he doesn't have the immediate Ador, the Emskeit, the Seichel is lacking him, even though profundity he's got. But the immediate Ador he doesn't have, because the immediate Ador is Dafkia Sazan, which is able to be Megala or Hero Mesuyam. If he, or Ayin from Gilui Mesuyam, and therefore if he doesn't have that, then he doesn't have the immediate Hador. In other words, he doesn't have a Dor Shal Sheker Chas V'Shalom. He doesn't have Ayin which is Eipucha Emes. He doesn't have a Mitias Hador. He's not able to bring it into the ultimate Tachlis of that Seichel. Therefore it's lacking in the immediate Hador, even though it's not a Dover Hafochi from the Emes Chas V'Shalom.
That means Emet and Tachlit is the same thing?
Huh?
Emes and Tachlit is the same thing?
Is the same thing. Oh yeah, that's what we say, that Emes is Aleph, Mem, Tov. That Emes begins, it's in the middle, and it's at the end. Until when you reach Tov, that then we know that you got an Aleph. Then we know that you started somewhere properly. K'mavur become a Mekemes, and the Emes Yinian from Emes is only when it comes out. Ezu Chacham, Ka'en Chacham, Kabbalah, and Soyoy. Only when it comes out, Mamish Kupuyo, then we know it's Emes. K'mavur b'Havi Drushim. So, in other words, Davki from the Tachlis, right? See the Zach is Emes Tinit. He doesn't have a Mitias Hadova. What I'm trying to be Masbir is that we're not meaning to say he's got Sheker Hadova, a Kor from Akshay. We're not meaning to say that maybe he's just on the wrong track. He's just asking casters in the Welterline. Because he remains with an E Seder and an E issue, then he can't have the Amitiyas Hadova, the emphasis of the Pnimis V'atzmis that Seichel is lacking. The Amitius Pnimis V'atzmis is not going to come ad l'tov, ad l'giluma. Amamela, v'achosher koyach ha'afloa, but somebody, that's if he's lacking the Inyan of Yerida Lamata. Or if somebody's got a lacking in the actual Hafloa, ein boy chusha amoka. It's a sign that he doesn't have the ability to go into depth. He tends to take things somewhat as they are. He prefers to remain with an easy life, as you might say. He doesn't take them too deeply. And therefore he's lacking the chusha amoka of going into the depth of here. In other words, going into the uncertainty which leads to eventual certainty, if it's on the right path. which comes from deep, what you call ichpatiut, as we said before. It comes from the shiluv, the koyach hachokma, which koyach hadas. Like we find in Moshe Rabbeinu that he was the emes shiluv of the both in Yorim. Therefore, chosser boy kusha amoke, umamela, lo yuchol leireid boy inyan kokach. Therefore, since he's lacking the kusha amoke, he won't be able to come down and give it over to the Makablim B'Yoivana Dorush, because he didn't take it in the Hafloa, and therefore to be lacking in the Yerida, because the two Inyonim are Tluim Zeba Zeb. It doesn't mean to say that he can't give over anything, but at a certain point he'll say, well, that's what I have to say, more than that I can't really say. If you didn't get it with that, then, sorry, and here's where we sign off. But somebody that's got the Chusha Aflua B'Shleimas, what we're comparing that to the Inyan of the Kushiyas and the Stiras and the Inyan of the Choref U'Machshir, then later if he's able to bring it down, then that's a sign of the perfection of the Inyan of Chochma. V'Amitias HaChochma. I see once again here the word Amitias. I'm not saying that these people are Bali Shecher Chas V'Shalom, but they're just not on the Inyan, but we say Amitias. The emeskite, meaning the ultimate purpose and the ultimate, what you might call, Grisha, Tachlis of Chochma, Yishiyah Boy Beisa Koichais. And Adarabah, then once he's got that, for Koyach HaYerida Ulefiera Koyach Afla, the Koyach of going upwards into Hamokkah, that makes that you have the Koyach HaYerida. The more Hamokkah, the more Hafla, then the more the ability to bring it into detail. And it's well known that we quoted already a couple of times the famous Hezbollah in that Inyan in Pasha Lech Lecha, Torah, where the old Rebbe talks about Shlomi HaMelech and his ability to say Shleishas Alofim Moshe on each and every Musa, not just all together Shleishas Alofim Moshe. Shleishas Alofim Moshe Afilu B'Musik Echor, but that was Tavki because Terev Chachma Shleimei Mikol Chachmas B'nei Kedem. Afilu the will say B'nei Kedem, say how go Reicha Hasog is. But he was Terev, he was much more, he was ein arei higher in the Chusha HaMokkeh and the Haflor, therefore he was able Davki to come down in the Oivim HaKi Sholem, and Ki Mufla, that he came down all the way down to the Makabel HaKi Poshu. Ulefiera Koyach Haflor, Ulefiera Koyach Haflor, שמגיע בעמק השכל ביסר למעלה מכמו שהוא מושג. כמו כן הוא כוח הירידה שיוכל להמשיך ולהירד עד למטה ביסר. You see, here's a prat that comes into it and it reoccurs and it's moving. That lends a lot of power to the whole idea. The Alter Rebbe brings in Tanya, immediately starts talking about Chochma, he brings over there, that's the Koyach Lahaskil, and that's the Koyach Lahaskil, and he brings over there the unit from Koyach Ma, Leizer Tzoref, in Perigimel, Leizer Tzoref, Tzadik L'Tov, Chochma is Koyach Ma, it was there, V'Eid Inyonim, in the Lashenas of that believe Ladati, called Lashenas over there in what he called in Perigimel, is what comes out of it is that the Inyan Amitius power of being Megale, what you might call knowledge or ideas to a person, is not really Al Pi Hasoga. That's a Inyan which comes to L'mayla Mi'Hasoga. Because Hasoga is only when you're Magbil the Inyan in Inyanim, which are like you, with your Hakbolas. With the Hakbolas is what we call Adova HaMusag, which means Inyanim that are mamish defined, clear within certain, what you might call Gushim Digo almost, Hakbolas, but then you can talk about a Soga. But the way the Nefesh reveals to you Seichel is not really what we call Hasoga. We tend to sort of unite Hasoga with the idea of what we understand carefully, with careful explanations and with Piyurim, with alle many sort of gute Sachen. Aber dort kommt and here also mashma, that the Nefesh has the ability to produce you in Yonim. And that comes from an inyan which is called maskil, koyach hamaskil. It's a dover built to Yadua Lano, where it has the ability to produce you those things from. Because we don't know the koyach hamaskil. We don't really have any grasp in what the koyach hamaskil is about. And yet we see that there's this unbelievable, unlimited ability. It's like yichoilas on the part of the Nefesh to produce you in Yonim. And the way you get them is that they're not really seicheldik. You become connected with that in a way that you yourself are not able to explain it, boys arega. And that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with that. That's a very high form of revelation to the other, because he certainly does know it at that point, and it's revealed to him. It's just that the Gabi, the ultimate tachlis, like we said, bringing things down, then it hasn't begun its whole journey yet. But that's for sure. But again, to the mensch chachmas adam toya pono, that it makes a change in the etzem adam. And so we see then that the meatiest inyan of seichel, shor shoy, and in Yonei, how it is legabi gilui hanefesh, that they're lamayla minin hasoga, they're lamayla minin hamusag, and the inyan hasoga and musag is only a certain stage. A certain process at a low level down the ladder. Then we move into this concept of Hasoga. And then what the Rebbe says, if you notice, he uses the inyan, uses the expression, the inyan of the aflua. Well, that's the inyan of going upwards from the Hasoga. Like so, either he starts off l'chatchila that way, or he goes from the Levushia Hasoga upwards into that realm of the aflua. Beyond how it is musag. In other words, he gets into what you might call the etzem gilui of that inyan from the etzem hanevet. In other words, we have to say that you can literally prompt, and that's what we're going to see in this chapter here, that you can prod or prompt your koyach hamaskil. You can literally prompt your koyach hamaskil to produce you something deeper, more profound than what you've had up till now, even though what you had up till now has been very good. And that's because deep within the etzem hanefesh, there's this koyach of knowing, haskolah, which we call a koyach hamaskil ha'yuli, or we give it all sorts of different high names. And that's got the ability beyond our grasp altogether to be aware of things in a way which is higher than our old form of awareness. And it gives us forth by way of, a dover, how do you call it, a matzia. You just, boom, all of a sudden you find it, like you find a matzia. It comes to you. Hashgacha pratis v'chulei. But just at a hagav, this, every now and then, this, I tell you, this publication given out by Professor Brunner, every now and then they send me an article and ask me to just take a look at them. Are they okay? So I get it from them every now and then. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to devote to it like I'd like to. But I have to look through certain articles to, is it okay, I'll be Yiddishkeit, is it possible to? Because sometimes I get people that, get a bit sort of ad-lib and they start playing around a little bit too much. But anyway, there's an article that I saw from a professor. He's a professor at some place in America. And he's a Yid, from a Yid, and he told us that there's this whole way that Hashem can cause a person to realize things and communicate almost. It's like Hashem communicating with the ordinary man. That also a person gets all sorts of insights into things, and sometimes through dreams. And so he said that an Emerson Novi, he told us that an Emerson Novi is a person that he's purified himself so much that his koyach of knowing things beyond hasoga, the ability of the nefesh to be aware of things beyond the whole concept of what we understand of reasoning and rationality, working a thing out with the seichel, He's just very developed. Therefore Hashem talks to him and gives him all sorts of revelations that come either in dreams or in big Nevi'im. When I say big Nevi'im, I mean Nevi'im Gedolim. It comes even beyond dreams. It's like a direct form of giving them knowledge. And he brings out a few examples which are very fascinating. That people, which are so-called ordinary people, I think even one or two of them were not Yid enough to learn. He brings quite a few examples that all of a sudden they had very clear dreams about something that was going to happen, and they worried about it and they took action to prevent that thing happening. And because they took action, that certain thing didn't happen. In other words, that Kilo Hashem had warned them, through a higher form of knowledge in the Nefesh, and he brought it to their attention due to some schools or some particular Indian that these people had. So Hashem wanted to, as it were, prevent or make them aware that they should take action on certain Indian. It's a very, very fascinating thesis that he develops there. Anyway, Lafisa, what it comes out is that we see that if you study carefully Chassidus, our whole ability of what we call knowledge, our whole awareness of Inyanim really begins in a way which is not what we call reasoning. It's not rationality. Our rationality and reasoning, our bina, that's always a koyach on the way down. But the whole awareness of Chochmah is not reasoning. Boing, all of a sudden you become aware, and you're aware very profoundly, but you don't have the ability to really develop it all in the form of rationality. You just know about it. And so what the Rebbe is telling us here is that a Chacham Amiti, that we're soon going to see very profound, if he goes back to his Koyach HaMaskil, demands almost, he sort of brings everything he took back into his Koyach, he says, no, he demands it away from the Koyach HaMaskil, then he can get a much deeper vista of this whole thing than he had before. So, what are you demanding from? Where are you calling into? You're not aware of your Koyach HaMaskil. You don't really know what it's all about. You're aware of it, but you don't know what it is. How's it functioning? And yet, nonetheless, you can call on this Inyan. If you're working a thesis or something, if you just reach a point of blank, you don't know where you're going. So what do? You sort of go back into yourself. You just work out, and to a certain extent, you ask for help. And you get it. If you go to school, the Eivishter help, that you get it somehow or another. It makes sense to you. And in a lot of Inyanim, it's like that. In life, we're just not aware of the fact that we're doing it. We do this a lot in life. Therefore, he wants to tell. I found it a very interesting thing. I've got to study the whole thing more carefully before I give my answer. But he tells us that there's this higher form of awareness of the nefesh, of facts and Inyanim, which really means that Hashem reveals things to us. And that's really true of every human being. A Novi is somebody that he's on such a high level of purification and return into the Koyach HaMaskil and remind him that Hashem just sends him the things direct. That these awarenesses just come to him in a direct way. And so you can say that Hashem is talking to him. Almost in the form of like a conversation with him, even though it's more that Hashem doesn't talk. He doesn't talk. Hashem sends these Inyanim. So I found it very interesting, and it makes a lot of sense. But again, to many things, where you see also a person has what they call a fifth dimension, or there's all sorts of words for it. So a person has a form of awareness of something, or he sensed something, or he felt that something, and all these Inyanim show that our awareness of the world around us and our knowledge of it eventually is not really a Davar HaMusag. That's why the Rebbe, I think here in this piece, he's trying to show us that don't confuse Hasoga with your real ability to know and your real ability to be aware of facts even. They're sent to you through a much higher thing, which we don't really understand how it functions, but it's a form of divine system of letting you know. They can do it. And it's not a Hasoga. And Hasoga is only a lower level. The Chasdui, Shala Kodesh Baruch Hu, what he gave us the ability to deal with it, as it were, in our own terms, which is what we might call Hasoga. Then you can sort of reason with it in your own rationality. But rationality itself is a certain gift that Hashem gave us. It's not and it's on a much lower, when I say lower, it's on a more closer and what you might call limited and material level towards us. So then, Lafi, this whole thesis, what he develops, which I found very interesting, then you can understand a Novi. A Novi is a person, and that's what the Rambam says, you have to go through a certain series of self-purifications, and so on and so forth. And then there's certain people that in their dreams, and we see that the whole of Yosef Indian, there are certain people, and even the Sarah Mashki, he was an ordinary man. The Sarah Mashki and the Sarah Eden, they weren't holy people at all. They were going. But they dreamt, and Pari, I mean, it was for a bit of a Rosh Hashanah, but he dreamt the Inyanim, which were told about the whole future. In other words, in a way, you might say each individual can at certain points have certain revelations through dream, through being in a state of hafshata from the normal tilde, which is sleep. You can have certain revelations. They mean things going to get to the whole, what you might call, development of the society or the area or whatever you connect it with. And I mean, the whole Bereshis, when you think about it, is very based on, I mean, we saw the Yaakov Avinu saw the Sulam, so it's also a dream. Vayach Elohim. These days. And yet, nonetheless, it's brought down in the Medrashim, Madain Shir, the things that this Sulam represented. It represented all sorts of Inyanim in Elikuz. And then again, that it was a Navur, and again, to things with Esau and Meduz, and again, things which are Sidim Liyah. Maisa Ov is Siman Laban. But we see that the whole of certain portions of the Torah which have got to do with dreams, and they become very important when you get to the whole Eden. So I mean, I'm not trying to translate us into dreams here. Even without dreams, somebody who really wants, and he's really into things, he's really devoted himself to mushkoles, then we see that he gets these new vistas in things, which we're going to see that they come for him literally going back into himself and saying, hey, we should give me a kill to, he shows, like we just said, that das means he patiyut, it really bothers him. He wants to know, which is the Zach here, and he gets it. And he gets it even though he may have already got it. He might have already understood it, but he saw, how do you say, we want more, it's not enough. He shows the aims, and so then he gets a whole new vista, That's what we call this idea of Chorifu Makshi is like a certain realm in that. The guy who's a Chorifu Makshi, he's a tremendously patiyut guy, he's concerned, he wants to know, he's not just stop, showing his muscles how he can pray kashi. Achazar means b'chlo medablim, it's estimul, balatim be'imitis nafshe, will wissen. We'll see as you go on, you can get to. And that's what the Rebbe means, it's lamayla mikmoy shuhu musar. Yakshmoy kain, ukechai shiuch lahamshich, leired aglamata mata b'yesa. And therefore a person like that can reveal things to people. He can teach people all over. And people sort of chap, even though normally they may not have chapped, but for him they chap. I'll tell you the Rebbe, I mean, a lot of the things that the Rebbe said, even when he seemed to be talking to children, are tremendously deep matters. But when you heard it, it seemed to make relatively good sense to you as a relatively limited human being, even as a child. I'm sure the children listen carefully. They got something out of those sikhas. But when you study them, you see that they're really tremendously profound in what the Rebbe was giving over for the betterment of the whole world, for the good of humanity, etc., etc. And Vamela, we see that this is clear of getting in Yonim in a tremendous high state, which is beyond us, okay, and then being able to bring them down and make them understood and make them clip, in the seichel of a mensch, but he's not bothered with it. He just wants to know what he's talking about. He wants to understand. Okay, and so we'll come to him. We'll give it to him. Can we show who? we have a good control as to how to do that. So the Rebbe said, the Rebbe, who can do it, koach hayirida b'seichel lahovi kol seichel kins hashpur el azul. Now notice the word hashpur. Hashpur doesn't mean he just hears what you say, but he gets affected by it. Yeah, so v'taber elav hashpur. Yeah, zo daki. In other words, the more the depth and the more the pnimius that you've gone into that matter, meaning the more that you're aware of it, the more like you're aware of it as a revelation to you in your nefesh, then the more you can bring it down. You have a gam tzadik, v'gam. Here's another nakuda. Tzorik l'shanis es haseichel mikemoi shehu etzloi. V'oi tzorik lahamshi loze inyonim chadoshim v'meh lahovi es haseichel. Shezo davke kasher yesh lei koach hamoilid b'sichloi. Lahamshi sichlim chadoshim. Where from? Mim koera haseichel. You know, some we think we've jumped a hole, so we seem to be going all right. Now we've moved into a whole new, sort of a new vista. So the Rebbe said, when you want to give over to another person, then you've got to be mashana the seichel. God forbid to say that you're mashana, that you come up with some other idea. But what does it mean, mashana as a seichel? Yeah, mikamoisha etzloi. You've got to make it literally sound like and look like another Indian almost, as it were. You've got to make it much more approachable than what it is by you. In other words, the way you have it, if you just talk it out the way you've got it, then it'll be beyond the receiver. So therefore you've got to literally alter it. But that doesn't mean to alter the Inim b'marusei or b'etzem tikunei. No, it means to alter it legabi the makabi. V'oi said Rabbi, even more. Tzorik lahamtzi loze inyonim chadoshim. You've got to be able to have new media than what you use. All sorts of new things. Yeah, in order to lahavias aseichel. Yeah, to bring it down to people, you've got to have all sorts of new media that weren't necessary for yourself. For example, comparisons with other, or mashalim on a lower level, and things of that nature, that you've got to be able to find for it all sorts of ways of giving it out, and what you, by you, B'klal wasn't necessary that. Or, not kokach beribui inyanim. I think maybe it's kedai to turn off that thing, because I know some people are drooping. There's a certain shlofarai which is going on.
What you're saying is ke'ilu lahamsi sichli chadashim.
No, not ke'ilu. So you have to do that.
That's if it's you're not mamish.
Yeah, no, we don't mean things which are zah. We don't mean foreign. We mean new ways of expressing this seichel. Sichli chadoshim means that it sounds, when you hear it, like a new thing. In other words, it's coming to a new realm. Aliday, what it borrows from other things, or it borrows from other simplicities that everybody knows, and so on and so forth.
That means a mashal, to say a mashal?
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean a mashal is probably a lower level. What he means is that the way he understands it is on a certain level. In order to give it over to another person, he's got to literally bring in some new form of expressing that seichel, which the way he's got it is new. It's not a new opinion in the seichel. In other words, it's not that he's changed the seichel. But what it means is that he's got to literally produce a new method of giving that out, a new way of explaining it. So when you hear it, it sounds almost like another inyan. But when he says a seichel, shezeu davke, kasher yesh lo koach hamoilid b'sichloi, lahamtzi sichlim chadoshim mim koer ha-seichel. Mim koer ha-seichel הרי זה בו מעמק יסר מהמצוס ha-seichel בתחילה. he said that when it comes into these Sichlim Chadoshim, that's when he's gone back, as it were, into the Mokia of the Seichel, and then it comes out from the Mokia of the Seichel in a deeper way than it was when he understood it first off. Bagamas the Seichel Azeh, Chorik Lahaloisoi, or Gamas the Seichel Azeh, he means the Seichel was Betchila. Chorik Lahaloisi Limkoir Seichel, V'ainu Kamoishi Skil Tchila, the Oz Dabke Yuchol Shanoisei, Gam Lahamchi Inyonim B'mela Havio Galoisei, Kamoishi Nisbur Liu Perikuf Ayin. Now, Perikuf Ayin, if we look up over there, that's a famous portion that we have where he types out all the different expressions. Vayidaber Hashem El Moshe, Daber B'nai Yisrael, and so on and so forth, the different levels in the Gila HaTorah, how Torah comes from Matzma Sein Tzei. So when we got to Moshe, how do you call it, Vayidaber Hashem El Moshe, Leimoel, Daber B'nai Yisrael. So we said that Moshe Rabbeinu is the union from Chokhmah, but we touched it more. We said that Moshe Rabbeinu's union is Yisod Allah, Yiddur. In other words, he's the union from Yisod, because Inyoni was that through Moshe Rabbeinu all the Inyonim in Torah were Mizgale and Niklat in him, but then they went out in a form of Yisod. So the Rebbe Tais over there, even though Bekitzer Hadorah, that the union from Yisod is a Koach HaMoilid. The union from Yisod is connected with Hiloda. So that means that how do you have the Koach HaMoilid? Al Yidei, that you go back into the Etzim Koach of production that there is in a human being. It comes from the attributes of the Moyach and the Gamsariches. In other words, that the Koach HaMoilid is connected with the Etzim. So the Rebbe said, how do you deal with a Makabel Ramata B'Yisa? He said, you've got to have a Koach HaMoilid. Within the way you've received the Seichel, you've got to have an ability to literally give birth to things. In other words, you've got to find whole new ways of giving that over. Because the way you have it now is great, but you see that Pliny, even if you manage to get the way you have it now into some sort of easy, it's not going to be in his world, and it's not going to talk to him. You've got to find some way to bring it in such a way that it'll talk to Pliny Ben. Pliny. For example, I was talking on the phone the other night to a guy, he teaches Russians, he has to talk to them sometimes in Russian. And he was saying how difficult it is sometimes, these people don't really figure what he's trying to say. And therefore he has to sort of think tremendously profoundly, how's he going to make it make sense, But that's what the Rebbe is saying here, that sometimes according to certain Makablim, you've got to have an ability in your mind literally to give birth to a new way of seeing that Sefer. Not Chashom, a new idea, that you're confusing people. But you've got to make it in such a way that it's reborn. It becomes a new Indian, and therefore you're able to talk about it with more control, with more confidence, and also you branch off into another form of Hezbollah, and you're comfortable with that. So the Rebbe said, where does that come from? That comes from the fact that you went back into the Etzim. Where does Koach HaMoilid? It's an amazing idea. Where does Koach HaMoilid come from? Koach HaMoilid comes from the Etzim. So you've got to literally go back into the Etzim and say, listen here, Etzim, give me some other birth here. Give me a new Vlad that I should be able to sell this product. I should be able to get it across to these type of people. So therefore the Rebbe said, that's what we call over there, Perikuf Ayin. That's what we call Yesod Abba. That's the union in Chokhmah, in our Aflo Agufa, a new union of Yesod. So the Rebbe said, how do you do that? He said, you go to the Mokia of the Seichel. Because you go to a Koach HaMoilid, then literally you come back to the Mokia, which is the Koach HaMaskil, and you call out, as it were, a new Oimik, which is more than what it was the original Am Torah. And he said that original Am Torah, you have to take it back. You've got to take it back to where it was, the way you understand the whole thing, and you go back to your Koach HaMaskil and say, listen, this is what I got from you. and I've dealt with it, and I've got it, and this, but I need you to give me something more, how do you call it, mushukhlau. I need it to be more equipped to get over. I've got to have some other new way of looking at this whole thing. And so if you do that with an Evasa Elakai, and you go back and you take everything that you've got, and you say, look, I got this, but this is not enough, and you call out to your Koyach HaSeichel, then you get a new birth, literally, within the same basic musag, which comes from the Emerson Mocker. I mean, it's a little bit like, I mean, it's not mamish, but it's a little bit like the famous story that, you know, Rav Zusha, it's a pili place, the more you think about it. Rav Zusha, the Alter Rebbe wouldn't print the Tanya unless he had these Haskot. The same with this Rav Yehuda Leib HaKoyhe. He wouldn't, without the Haskot, he wouldn't print the Tanya. And they've just given out the Sefer from Rav Yehuda Leib HaKoyhe. They're Agonas, they printed off very nicely. Oh, beautiful Sefer. It's not really a very understandable Sefer. The truth is that it's a very difficult Sefer to understand. And there we can understand why these people were so true when they saw the Tanya, because they saw that this whole new vista, bringing out to the Beina, to the ordinary people, and making them, an essential part of the whole Bria. The Alter Rebbe Mamish makes the Beina into a noble, in some way it makes him even better than the Tanya. So when they saw this, they took off, because they were living in a high form of not being able to get right down to the Makabah. That was in a good. You remember the Yesh Lema from Yesh Lema with Derech Hefsher. When they saw the Tanya, they had such a simcha, they danced, and Zusha said, he campus, we express his simcha in this Indian on his own, you have to go over the Rabbi Leib HaKohen. The Rabbi Kohen said, "Oh, this is so unbelievable." And the night that the Shluchim bought that they should, the Alter Rebbe wanted them overnight to look at it. Did he need the next day? He already needed the Haskoma. He wanted to start printing. So the Pinchas Mishkot, no, we had to go to the Pinchas races, but that a very big choice Chassidim, the Alter Rebbe. They took the Contrasim over to Rav Zusha and to Rabbi Yehuda Leib HaKohen. They lived on two different sides of the river, but it was both called Anipoli. It was Anipoli on this side and Anipoli on that side. And so they both got tremendous aspirers in the night time. And they couldn't hold themselves back. They had to somehow or another tell somebody the unbelievable gila of kus that there was. So they each decided they were going to go look for one another. Rabbi Yehuda Leib HaKohen said, "You're going to look for Rav Zusha." And they ran onto this bridge, and they met in the middle of this bridge over the river, and they made a whole dance, the whole story, the guitars, the whole Arichas Advarim, and each one said, the Rabbi Leib HaKohen said, this will be the Ketoiras, which will be Mavatal all the Magafis before Mashiach, Davki, it'll be Mahapir, they're like Ketoiras, the power of Ketoiras, and Rav Zusha, he said with a pshit, he said, with this Sefer, the Klal Yisrael will be Mekabel Pnei Mashiach. Go out to meet Mashiach. What's the unbelievable? It's priceless. So we see that he was a man to get for himself. This Rabbi Yehuda, he wrote also a sefer, a very sefer machuba. I mean, it's not the power. It's a very high and profound sefer. But they saw that this was a whole new Koyach HaMoilid. This is a whole new. This is taking everything back into the Koyach HaMaskil and brought out, Inyoni, which came down for every man, and on the contrary, they make every man find his real place, the Beinani. So who could possibly be a Beinani? It's an underman. It's an odd master. So of course, the Rebbe Tanis and I've got all this, but based on that, the Beinim all over the place, that everybody's a Beinim. If you just try, he's trying out, then he's a Beinim. Gives you more responsibility. Well, but anyway, whatever. What it means is, whatever it means. There's this quote to go back, to take everything you've got, to go back into it, and literally say to the Eibishter, listen here, you gave this koyach hamaskil, give something better, give something new, which will embrace new things. And I'll be able to get across to this Russian guy that's told her doesn't know the heck what I'm talking about. This guy out there, I don't know. That's the Nakudas Adora. And that's called koyach hamolid, because you go to the etzem, you give birth to a whole new idea. Yoz dafki yuchel shanois vegam lahamshi inyonim yebamela haviu galoisa yokamation is bully yo perekuf. And you look over there, that's the whole Indian of the Ashpur through Moish. Why did everything have to go through Moish Rabbeinu? Davasham El Moish Davevna. Just David could just throw things into the Bnei Yisrael. Oh no, but you got to go through that koyach yisod that there is already in the beginning of that bolas hanivra. In that yisod, there's this ability to bring from etzem melakus into a for new halon. He's going to say, that we'll see. And that's the echot. So you guys have started learning echot. There's a lot of achlotas we're taking in different kehillas to learn the echot because of this whole business happening. No, I know in Bnei B'rith was one of the achlotas. Other kehillas.
Yeah.
But that's what the echot says. But the echot is davki from the actus of chokmah. You can come to all these chokmah. If you go up into the beetle of the Atzmius of Chokhmah, then you're able to come out into detail. On the contrary, the actus and the beetle gives you the ability to talk detail. So that's what the Rebbe says here. You come to Pshita, and you go up in the, and you go up into that power of Nefesh, which brings everything into one like simple idea that's not visible with all the details, like a form of Atzmius of Uya. Well, then you can bring it out into detail. So that's another idea altogether. It's a similar idea, but it's another. In other words, the ultimate everything that we're looking for is Makabli. We've got to come down. We've got to give it to them on their level. That's this Indian of going back. And the Rebbe's going to call it Berach Choizer. He's going to say that's our form of Berach Choizer. We look and we call for. We go back to call out a new vista from our etzem into a form of Ishkalas, which is not Mamish Hasogah, and that lends everything into Hasogah. It gives everything we need, even the ability to come down Lamata Mata. We see that there is such an inyan of going to your etzem and saying, not enough, one must be. Yeah, I need something more. Yeah, koyach hamaskil, give me something. Tain or. Where's the koyach hamaskil getting it from? Everyone cares. Takes from the etzem and everything. Where the etzem and everything get it from? From the Eibishter.
This koyach hayuli, this koyach hamaskil, is it equal in everyone being that it's from Elikus?
Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good child. So we have to say that not. We have to say that everybody's koyach hamaskil is different. In other words, the way he reveals things to people is different. But that's all Hashgacha Pratis. It's not a in it's Al Pi Seichel or Al Pi Eizish with rules that we can just know, But your question about the Koyach HaMaskil HaYuli, that's B'Klal, or Al Pi Seichel, Klal. Maybe there everything is. Maybe there we can say in a certain guarded way we can say that over there everything's tucky. Over there, everybody for state. Oh, it's the same thing. It's like in Periklam Base, the Alter was a Quran Matim Base, Al-Vechad, the Quran, he goes to the Kilo in Dargas. First of all, he says, first of all, everybody's united and everybody's in, and then he says, Quran, Al-Vechad, the Quran, that means we're all one in. There's a certain level in the Achmius of the Nefesh, we're all in, it's one piece. We're all the same. Certain inyanim how you do in lawyers barach, they come out into detail. That's that in the koyach hamaskil. But he's an atzmi, but he's not. He's individual as well. The koyach hayuleh, but he gets also from his place where he can be very individual, but he can be just unlimited. He's not just limited according to you. He can lift you beyond your limitation altogether. And that's an amazing thing. Which means that ultimately speaking, there's a certain point in every human being where the Eivishter is with us. It's like the Eivishter working inside us. We're not separate from the Eivishter. It's like working inside. And that wouldn't include in Perek Yud. Take a look. You see the Alter Rebbe says, Vayamid limin evyen loishim, and the Eivishter mipnei Hashem ha'oimed. Later on he crosses over again. He says, Mipnei Hashem. The Eivishter is there inside the Beinah. What do you do? The Beinah is a guy walking around. The Eivishter's mommy's hanging in there with him and he's pushing away all these. He's paskening them. Only for Kiddush, only for good thing. Because the Eivishter walks around with a Beinah. His mommy's there with him. Or even to you mean earlier. I give it to them. Was it a pshat? And the same thing here. That's what the Rebbe is saying. That the whole way you know things is not hasod. It's not musar. And you can go back to that and you can ask for better. You say, you want a whole new awareness of the end, and you get it. If you mean earlier and you purified yourself a bit, you get it. It's not just a amaton neschina of a so. It's bederach maton. You get it. I'm sure. Boom. You make it this time. That's why I found very interesting with this professor guy. He's obviously trying to be helpful. He's not trying to sort of slog the room. He says that there's a certain in human beings where Hashem directs them, as it were. Hashem somehow guides them. And I know he is a guy that he's gone so high that Hashem just does it in a tremendously real and general way for the whole club. And sometimes they even use somebody that's not an Ovi. They're like Pare. But there you have to have Yosef. You have to have Yosef. He was even higher than an Ovi. You have to have him to tell the world what was it really all about. In other words, where he'll reveal through somebody who's not an Ovi, then you're going to have a Novi to work out what's it all about. Therefore, somebody who can be Poisha or something, like in Torah, that's a very high power. So, I mean, the more you study these whole things, the more you see it's purely play. We're draining a room with the Eivishter inside. It's unbelievable. The Eivishter, man, tremendously humble. I tell you this, what they call physics business, what they call quantum field, all this sort of stuff, is revealing just how much you can affect the world. If you machlit or you have a lot and you change all the molecules, they all start running and jumping and racing. You can even affect the heavenly bodies, according to what I heard once from Professor. So I wish to it. And that's what this Bocher was said to. He wrote to these people. We said in a moment, we're chazering a moment in this place. It came back from Tom Chetzminu. And he said that the Nishama is a shtik poira. He used the expression, the Nishama is a shtik poira. So these guys that went out of the Kele with the Nishama was a piece of the Eivah. They wrote a letter, Friedrich Rebbe, how come you say these sort of things? And the whole Kuntis, what is it, Kuntis, Limud HaChassidus or Kuntis? The two contrary, Kuntis, Limud HaChassidus, Kuntis, what's the other one?
Avoidance.
Huh?
Avoidance.
Kuntis, Avoidance from the Rebbe Hashem. That's another thing. And he wrote them back, and that's an answer to what they asked. The whole thing, the Friedrich Rebbe wrote them all countries to answer them. What do you mean by saying that Shem was a stick boy? He's not the Rebbe said he can't say that he's wrong. Maybe he used a slightly, sort of super language, but he's not wrong. And that means that the Eivishter tries to help what I mentioned.
It says in Dvar Malchus that Yisrael b'kudsha b'ruchu kuluchad.
Yeah.
Yisrael b'kudsha b'ruchu kuluchad.
Yeah.
And the Dvar Malchus from Vayishla.
Yeah. Kudsha b'ruchu kuluchad's not written in the Dvar. That's it in the Zohar. The Rebbe teaches it in the Dvar Malchus. Yeah, Einachana. So, it's all one thing. Could be close from us. To storing it from human existence. The more you think about it, the more it becomes a feeling that these creatures walking around on 2 feet, and it's unbelievable, you know. It's called a Nishona mind. As a koicha, they all come from here as a koicha, so it's unbelievable when you think about it. Well, our Rebbe was a person, he looks at the human, that's how he sees it. It's Marechas.